Evening. Welcome everyone to tonight's WPCA meeting. Tonight is Wednesday, July 20th. We've posted an agenda. Are there any proposed changes to tonight's agenda?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to change item 2 under Bills and Communication, approval of June 15th regular meeting minutes, not June 18th.
Excellent. I don't know. Of course. There a second?
Happy to second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. His name is online. Ron. So tonight we have Ron, Chris, Tom, Joe, myself, John Bodie from the department. Any other proposed changes? Seeing none, we'll proceed with the agenda as posted and modified. First item is the approval of the June 15th, 2022 regular meeting minutes. Or any comments, changes? Joe?
Again, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to amend the minutes to reflect under new business item 3, representing Sacred Heart University was Tom Knowlton, not Tom Nelson.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Chris. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
I
Yep.
abstain.
Yep, of course. Okay, let's move on to new business. We have a sewer adjustment in front of us first, and then we'll get on to Sacred Heart, followed by Fairfield University, followed by 345 Reef. First item is a sewer adjustment for 374 Pine Creek Avenue. John, what do we have here?
That's a good question.
I've got it, if you don't.
Please. Hey, man.
Okay. On 374 Pine Creek Avenue, Mr. Baker requests an adjustment. He received a bill in the neighborhood of $1,700, which was out of line with his previous history. He submitted 5 or 6 plumber bills, adjusting from the toilet to the sinks to a leaky pipe to document his issue.
Maybe he sent his plumber's kids to college.
Phil's Plumbing is doing very well.
Yeah. Remarkable, isn't it? Wow.
So,
He's got a spell. All right,
so I'm inclined, Mr. Chairman, to
don't
make
pay it?
although that might be a good idea, you can afford it, to make an adjustment, to make a proposed adjustment. So I'd like to motion to adjust the 2021 sewer bill at 374 Pine Creek Avenue to $583.55. This adjustment reflects prior year usage times the current year rate, which, as everybody remembers, is a 5% increase. As Mr. Baker appears to not have paid any of this tax, he may, by statute, also be responsible for interest to be determined by the town's tax collector.
Second.
Chris, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Ron Drew's on board. Joe, thanks for running for me on that.
No
We appreciate
problem.
it.
I assume Mr. Baker was not on.
Yeah, I think he said this is about 45 minutes. Thank you. Okay, moving on. Sacred Heart presentation of upcoming projects. Mr. Nelson.
That'll confuse you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the record, my name is Thomas Knowlton, K-N-O-W-L-T-O-N. I'm a professional civil engineer with SLR in Chester, Connecticut. As you know, I was here at last month's WPCA meeting to talk about this very topic, but mistakenly left off the agenda, so nobody got a copy of our updated sewer feasibility report. So hopefully everybody had a chance to look at that before tonight's meeting. My hope is for tonight that not only will we talk about the changes to their sanitary sewer feasibility for the entire main campus and west campus, but also to get approval specifically for buildings 7 and 8 on main campus. The construction of those has actually, already begun, contingent upon, the WPCA approval coming shortly thereafter. If you'd like, I could walk you through the changes. The last time the WPCA heard from us and, approved the, construction plan for Sacred Heart was back in 2018, October 2018, so it's been almost 4 years, but in that time, Sacred Heart has come up with some modifications to their forecasting for future facilities, and those are captured in this update, and we estimated sewer flows for each of those, so it might be easier for me to just show you. So this is in the report, but not this big, obviously. But this is just the summary table for main campus, and some of the highlights for what changed from 4 years ago. They decided that they're not going to do the east lot dorm that was in the flow estimate from 4 years ago, so we deleted that. So, and then buildings 7 and 8 are on here under phase 4. Those are the only 2 items on main campus currently that are not yet completed. All of the other items that were proposed 4 years ago, they have all been completed since. So, in total, the flow has gone down from 62,000 and change, or it was 62,000. It's gone up slightly because of these 2 buildings, 7 and 8, even though we did delete the east lot dorm. So now the new flow is 64,187 on main campus. So a slight increase on main campus. So this is West Campus, quick summary for you. Some of the main changes, they decided not to do the natatorium on West Campus, so that's been removed from the sewer flow estimate. And the flow was 41,615, now it's proposed 32,743. So we had a slight increase on main campus, but more of a decrease on West Campus, so the net total was a decreased total from what we had 4 years ago. So back to main campus, buildings 7 and 8. So buildings 7 and 8 are adjacent to the other dorms that they've already done. This map here that I'm showing you, north is kind of up and to the right. So this is Jefferson Street out here. This is one of the main drives into campus, the diner down here on the lower left, just to give you kind of a sense of where we are on campus here. So these 2 buildings that are kind of mirror images of each other are what we're calling dorms number 7 and number 8. So going back to this flow table, so each dorm is proposed to have 240 students in each one, 240 beds, and we use the unit flow estimate for sewer, similar to some of the other dorms that we've done in recent past, building 5, building 6, because those are similar to what the dormitories would be for buildings 7 and 8. So with that total flow for buildings 7 and 8, there's 5,280 gallons per day, average daily flow for each. So times 2 is 10,560 gallons per day for those 2 buildings. So with those modifications to main campus, West Campus, and like I said, a slight reduction from 4 years ago, that means we're still within the sewer allocation that was granted to Sacred Heart University for the Easton Turnpike pump station. When those upgrades were made, there was a allocation for future growth of Sacred Heart, and we're still within that amount.
Joe, do you want to comment on that?
Yeah, I was gonna wait for Tom. Is that?
Yeah, that's just a quick summary. I can answer questions. We can go into more detail.
Tom, in your section 4, which you just said verbally about the allocation, I know just the way you presented it and the way we've discussed it in the past, we built that pipe, that whole facility up there to handle what you had proposed in 2018. But I want to get away, or at least my feeling is, there is no such thing as an allocation. I don't know how the rest of the commissioners feel. This is my feeling. It's when those buildings, 7 and 8, when you propose those, and there's room in the pipe, that's when they'll be approved. It's the way it sounds, at least in your presentation, is it sounds like you guys are expecting that to be there, and there's no reason to think it won't be there. However, there's some other things up, nothing is under development, nothing has come to us, but there are other pieces of land up there that could potentially come through that pipe. So I want Sacred Heart to understand it's not an allocation in the context of the way I'm reading it. I think that's the way you're presenting it also. Because you're comparing it to what you had presented in 2018, it's just a little bit more, we're well within the allocations, the way I'm hearing it.
Correct.
What Joe said, there's implied exclusivity in that comment, the way it's presented, so if it could be tweaked a little bit, that, you know, we all get more comfortable with those words.
Yeah, it sounds
Well, there's capacity available for
Right.
Sacred Heart.
No, there's no question about that. It's just, when we approve a project, it comes to us, and I'm almost gonna say it's a first come, first served basis, when it's ready to go. Granted, there's plenty of capacity up there because it was built that way, because you guys came to us and we built, as a joint venture, that's the full capacity. It's just the way you're using the term allocation, I think, is my concern. I just wanna make sure you take that back to Sacred Heart, just so there's an understanding.
Like, in other words, it's currently showing about 7,000 between the net increase right now and the current allocation. You guys are not allocated 7,000 more without coming to us and waiting, and if somebody else ends up applying for 7,000 and we approve it ahead of you, you don't have 7,000 in remaining allocation. Right? Is that?
That's my point.
Okay.
Chris?
Just a general question,
Sure.
I guess since I'm new to this, and I wasn't involved from the 2018, but you, in that was a joint venture for the pump station, between Sacred Heart University and the town or you paid for a portion of that pump station, is that correct?
Yeah, I'm not privy to the exact dollar
Yeah.
amounts that were paid, but.
Yeah, and then when you did and I'm just trying to understand this, so maybe, you know, tell me if I'm a little off on some things. And then when you did the pump station, you presented your proposal on your couple, 5-year plan that you had, and you came up with 50,000 gallons per day that you needed. So that pump station was built with that in mind for your 5-year plan. So what I'm looking at is that the allocation, they've paid for that. Is that, am I off in thinking is that when you guys put the pump station in, you were thinking, okay, we're gonna be doing these projects here.
Actually, let me stop right there.
Yeah, no,
It
that's
was
what
a
I'm trying to.
reprioritization of moving the pump station to the top of that kind of capital
Okay.
project list. It came in excess of $5 million. Sacred Heart committed to pay $1 million. I think they paid $500,000 thus far. We still don't know yet. We still don't know. So it was, hey, can you move this up? It certainly wasn't a priority for us to upgrade the pump station. So that was kind of the back and forth. It wasn't, I'll pay $1 million and I get this allocation of capacity.
Okay, no, that's what I'm trying to understand, is that the payment, or that was to upgrade the pump station to move it up and move things forward. But there was no allocation that was involved in the payment. There's no documents or anything that was involved in the payment.
Part of the confusion is on 2018, Sacred Heart presented us with their 5-year plan because they wanted to make sure we built something that was large enough to handle it.
I would say
And that's what we did. And they put, as Mark said, $1 million towards moving it up on the priority list because you hadn't bought GE yet, but it was,
yeah.
might have known you were buying it, who knows.
That works, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
no,
that's the way,
yeah.
the chronology of it.
Okay.
Well, it sounds like 7 and 8 are under construction. So the building permits were pulled.
No.
No, is that not the case?
7 and 8, we're waiting,
I believe they're starting on the foundation work
right.
with the knowledge that we were coming to the WPCA for that.
Right.
So the point is that it's soon to be a moot point. I would think those building permits would be pulled soon and the I&I would be paid soon.
But that's for 7 and 8, there's more beyond that. there's more building beyond that.
Have we not got, is that the, what am I missing?
I think the hockey rink,
Oh,
The hockey rink
West Campus.
is under construction as well. That's
Yeah.
due to be completed at the end of this year in December. There's a portion of the west building on West Campus, level 2, that is going to be completed sometime this month, is what I'm told.
Okay.
so that's got its permit?
I do not know the status of that project at this time.
Okay, so it might be just the hockey rink.
Yeah, which has a, you know, a projected flow of that there's a hockey game every day, so I don't think that's gonna happen, so.
No, but when we do our flow estimates, we do look at the peak, you know, what's gonna happen on the day that they are having
Yeah.
the hockey event, so. We're not gonna take the average, because obviously when it happens, it's one day that you're getting all that flow.
How are you getting gallons per day for the, students? Is that, through meters and then?
Yeah, so that was, back when we first started this report, back in 2016 or 17.
Yeah.
We took a look at, similar dorms on campus, looked at, their meter records and the number of students that were actually physically assigned to those dorms at the time of the meter records. And so, in other words, if it wasn't at 100% capacity, we didn't assume that flow over 100% of the beds in
Okay.
the facility, you know, so.
Yeah.
We were trying to accurately, estimate a flow per student or per bed, right?
Yep.
Based on real-world records from Sacred Heart, rather than just pulling out of a, you know, design manual like McCaffenetti or whatever, so.
Okay.
Are we still, relative to INIC, are we still operating with the Jewish home offset? So is there an incremental INI fee for this? We approved 7 and 8 tonight. Is there an incremental fee?
I don't know if Tom can answer it. The offset for the Jewish home was used up when they were doing the main campus.
I believe
And the diner and everything else.
I believe we might be past that.
Yeah, I believe we're past that.
Okay. That's an important point.
But I mean, they used it all because when they were building the main campus and redoing whatever they did at the Jewish home and the diner.
Yeah,
That was all
then I
taken
guess
up.
my issue is, you know, coincidentally, Fairfield is here tonight, and we're using 72 gallons per day for Fairfield and 22 for Sacred Heart.
That was gonna be another question.
Well, please.
No. There's no question. We're
Yeah.
inconsistent, it was my point, only because we've got them both here tonight,
Yeah.
you can see it.
Yeah. Does the department have a policy as far as, what to use for?
For students
Yeah.
and college.
Not that I know of, no.
And those are the numbers, it looks like at the bottom of that page, July 2012 through June 2015. No updated numbers over the last, okay.
No, but we did do flow metering in April of this year, because I was curious as to how we were doing on estimating flows from main campus. So we did put a flow meter out on Jefferson Street and manhole 11, which is just
Yeah.
downstream of where main campus dumps into Jefferson. And we were within 3%. If you take the average daily flow from the 2 weeks of metering that we did, and you subtract the infiltration rate, which is the low flow at night,
Right.
then we compared that to our estimate for what we have on main campus, we were within 3%. So it was pretty darn close.
Can we
And
get that data?
depending on the type of dorm, or if you have, you know, if you have housing where maybe you have more like apartment style, where it has a kitchen, you know, where you
Yeah, it's gonna
can
be
wash
higher
and
flow,
stuff,
right.
you know, it's gonna be higher. So that's why on the ones that are more like apartments, we had 33 gallons
I saw that.
per bed, per day, because it is slightly higher, because you're gonna be washing dishes, using the
Right.
sink for kitchen type stuff. I can't speak to anything on Fairfield, because we weren't involved in that, but, we did base it off of actual meter records, like I said, not just pulling it out of the engineering design.
I was actually gonna ask to put a monitor in, because at some point in time, we need to know where we are with this. So rather than voicing that expense onto you, can we get your data?
Yeah, I sent it to John Clancy and John Bowie last month.
Okay. Okay.
And I'd be, I'd be happy to share it with the WPCA if you're
Well,
interested.
I don't know if I,
If John Bodie has it, well, then
I'll
we'll
get
get
it,
it,
I'll
but,
get it.
yeah, we need to know, where we stand. There was an 830G project over there that was on the board at one point in time, kind of up against the, does anyone else remember that?
Notre Dame High School
The,
place?
no, it was really kind of, what's the main road?
Jefferson Street.
No.
59?
Intersects,
Park
yeah.
Avenue,
Park.
the other side.
It was really, it was at the juncture of Park and the Merritt Parkway.
Yeah, we convinced them to go to Bridgeport with their sewage.
Okay.
Is that the,
Yeah,
the one above the medical building?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they're going to Bridgeport.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause your collection, actually, the high end of Jefferson is the start of your collection, coming to Eastern Turnpike pump station.
The only issue for the new building up there is whatever.
Would
they
be in
do with
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame.
Yeah. So we need to know what our flows are. Okay, so John Bodie has the flows.
So in Wright Pierce's, study for the pump station capacity back in 2019, actually, May 24th, 2019, they looked at that, I think that property that you're talking about, or
Mhm.
there's an underdeveloped or undeveloped property
Yes.
that they allocate, or excuse me, they estimated potential
Mhm.
flow for that, didn't allocate it, but they had flow for that, and then they used our 50,700 gallons per day number when they were coming up with the capacity for the pump station. And then they also added in the existing flows for everything else in the sewer shed that they had meter records for.
Okay. Okay. Any other comments, questions?
Tom, you had an expectation you were gonna vote on this tonight?
For building 7 and 8, yeah.
Because it's not on our agenda, so.
And that was the expectation last month too, and I wasn't even on the agenda, so I'm not sure.
You're getting closer.
Well, I requested in my emails to the two Johns, so I don't know.
Well, John Clancy's on vacation, John Bodie was out, we can modify the agenda.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
think
the
that
question,
is
Mr. Chair, if you wanna go forward and
Yeah.
approve building 7 and 8, we'd have to modify the
Yeah,
agenda.
let's do that. I think in fairness to the applicant, not coming back for the third month in a row seems to make sense. So is there a motion to amend the agenda?
So moved.
The second.
We need 2/3.
Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
Tom's on board.
So now we'll consider an act.
Yeah, so the, proposed change is to consider an act. On the addition of buildings 7 and 8. Constituting approximately 480 units.
Units or beds?
Bed.
Beds.
Yeah, 480 beds to tie into the Fairfield sewer system. How's that on the fly? 480 beds, yeah, that's important.
Got schmaltz.
Okay. Somebody want to put forward a motion?
Do you want to compute how much that's gonna cost, or that, you don't have that, do you, that number? 480 beds.
Actually, what is the new INI?
No, it's the old INI.
Oh, it is still.
Yeah, because we're going to,
Is that,
because you were here last month, we're gonna let you go under the old.
Just because of the whole name thing?
So it really comes down to when you write the check, so, yeah.
was that, was it 1650? Was that the old RAM? I'm trying to remember what.
22, right?
I think it was like 4890. Pick one.
4250. It's residential, single family, one bedroom studio was 3674. 4250 is a two bedroom unit. So,
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought we were talking about the INI fee. You're talking, okay.
yes, I'm talking about the INI fee. Those are the numbers.
But
What's a dorm?
240 beds might, I mean, they could be single units, they could be doubles, right?
So I need to know what kind of units they are. If they're dorms, they're two.
Off the top of my head, I don't know if they have, you know,
Okay,
2
so-
to a dorm or 4 to a dorm, I'd have to check.
I assume they're two units, just like, yeah.
I don't imagine they're singles, so yeah, they're probably at least 2.
Okay.
So it's 4250, unless you wanna wait to that number.
Well, no, this is a huge differential. If we're going by gallons, on what our gallon per gallon fee is, or if it's a per unit. The 4250
It's a gallon fee.
is a,
Per unit, right?
Per unit.
So a unit would be 2 beds, or,
Yeah, well, yeah, the 4250 would be a two-bedroom unit, correct. I mean, I have more of that.
How many,
One-bedroom.
but how many rooms?
We don't know.
That's what.
But wouldn't you have to calculate the rooms and have their 3-bedroom or 2-bedroom or what, and then
To pay the fee.
calculate
Yeah,
it from
that's what
there?
we know. So we'd have to do the approval without that calculation. They'd have to just add that at the office. Usually we put the number into the motion.
when you say 4250, is that $42.50? Or
$4,250.
$4,250, all right,
Per 2-bedroom unit.
For a two-bedroom unit. It's $36.74 for a one-bedroom or studio.
that's the I&I fee?
That's the I&I fee. And that's, you've been paying that all along.
I don't know why I was thinking it was a per gallon number.
So the two-bedroom unit is 74, everything is consistent 74 gallons per unit. But a two-bedroom, we have 2.61 people. So we take the gallon, 74 times 2.61, and we come up with the, per day. It's 193 gallons per day times the $22 rate, which is $42.50.
Okay, so it is $22
Yes.
per gallon. So, because I have gallons in the report, so
Right.
if it's 10,560 gallons, and times 22, that would be 232,320. Okay, so I think we're probably talking.
I think we also are in the same, we're in the same ballpark.
Right.
Yeah. So even if I check the architectural, find out we have X number of 2-bed units, X number of 4-bed units, it's probably still gonna work out to $20 a gallon, right?
no,
Not
there's gonna be a huge gap here. We might as well address it now versus you going to see John Clancy. They're projecting 22 gallons per day. Right? We, on our 4250, that is based on 193 gallons per day.
Correct.
So Tom's calculation is gonna be, 7 times less what our single-family calculation.
Yeah, well, I got over
Is
a
anyone
million.
else tracking with me on this?
Yeah, if you do 4250 times, just say it's 2-bedroom units, you're 240 units, you got $1,080,000.
Well, I don't think we're saying that
I don't think
dorm
it's-
rooms are the same as
I-
single-family apartments.
I agree. But do we have something in our I&I fee schedule for dorm
That's
rooms?
why I thought I remembered the last time we were talking I&I fees, we broke it down to a price per gallon.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
Yeah,
It's, we've historically done it by gallon because dorm rooms are different than apartments, and they're generally not used 12 months.
Mhm.
Fairfield View calculated their fee tonight based on 72 gallons. 74 at 22.
22.
do you need to get the I&I rates
Okay.
for the approval?
Oh.
Can we just base it upon the I&I rate as of the approved?
It'll
Then
be,
figure that out.
it'll be based on 22, provided they write the check before we increase our I&I rates, which would And then it's up to the commission if we're going to sign off on 22 gallons a day usage, or if we think it's something other than that. Okay, what would be helpful is if you saw the flows and thought the flows were consistent with what the projections are. But we don't know where the flows are. We don't know. You're saying that it had.
Are you John?
Yes.
Yeah, that's done. All right, that's done. Before you mentioned John Bodie, like he wasn't here, and so I was thinking,
John Clancy.
John Clancy, I know what he looks like too, I know he's not here. But yeah, I did send the flow, you got him last month on the day of the WPC meeting.
Okay, but what you're saying is that they've been tracking with the projections.
Yes.
Okay. And help me again, in the prior dorms, we used the projections of 22 gallons per day?
For the dorms, yes, for the apartment, we use 32.
Gotcha.
And these ones do not have the kitchenettes, so these are just dorms.
And when was your flow monitor? When did that take place?
April 8th to the 22nd of this year.
Right, when's spring break?
No, we definitely made sure we did not.
Okay. Okay.
We jokingly said we should, but we did not.
Be a little funny getting 5 gallons a day.
But yeah.
I mean, from our perspective, I think this is a peak flow issue, not an average, most likely, because, I mean, if
For
they're not
us,
around in the summer.
Yeah, it's calculation of the ionization.
Right, well, that too. Yeah, I guess there's no capacity issue here.
Here's we have flow data that indicates that we have capacity.
Right.
Wouldn't, for fairness, wouldn't the INI, be calculated, wouldn't, because I don't know what Fairfield U is coming, but wouldn't they be similar on, if they're similar, I don't know what they have presenting tonight, but if they're similar apartments?
Not to project,
Dorm.
but I would imagine the conversation after this would be if you have data that shows that it's something else, then we're happy to look at that data.
I agree, but should we be able to calculate the INI?
We don't
with
have a
both of them?
We don't have a policy per se on dorm rooms. That's where we're hung up here.
But is it worth it to wait to hear what Fairfield U has to say until we calculate the INIs for Sacred Heart?
No, because they're gonna use their own data, and we're gonna look at their data, and we're gonna look at Sacred Heart data.
But would the method be the same? I guess you're saying, right? Would it be
I'm saying,
a price per gallon?
are we doing would it be the same price per gallon or the same
Well, it is,
method?
yeah, $22 a gallon.
22?
Yeah, that's gonna be the same, that's what our policy is.
That's what our policy is now.
Okay.
So we have an INI fee that's based on gallons?
Historically, what we've done with dorm rooms is that we've done based on projected flow per dorm room. Versus, that's what we've done, for all the reasons we've talked about.
Right.
I remember that's what Sacred Heart paid in the past, was based on a per gallon cost, per gallon per day.
And we're approving Sacred Heart on the data that they provided for the 22 gallons a day for the dorms, or whatever you had per day.
Yeah, I think we can put a caveat in the approval that if John Bodie reviews the flow data and it doesn't sync with what's been projected before, then we're trying to do what the department does, which isn't really fair, because we none of us really know, well, you know, that much about this. So, 480 units at 22 a day is 10,560.
So it wouldn't be 480 times 22, right? Or are you talking the gallons per day?
Yeah,
Gallons.
yeah, it happens.
It just so happens that the flow rate we estimate is the same as
Yeah.
the price.
That makes
So
it
the 22
confusing.
number is a little
Exactly.
confusing if you just say 22, but yeah, 10,560 gallons per day, if you multiply that by the $22 per gallon,
That's better. That puts it in the
Yeah.
range.
then we're at $232,320. That
That's,
would be the I&I fee based on 22 gallons per day times the estimated flow rate.
Subject to the department confirming.
Right.
Somebody want to craft that into a
Yeah.
motion?
I have a motion.
Before that,
The buildings are going up, you don't need the
We make the motion.
moratorium.
Yeah, fine.
But review in
I guess,
2 years, right?
my question
Well,
is, so for the
this
apartment
is projected
style,
to be done in 2024.
are those built at the
No,
traditional
but to pull the permit.
one
Oh, no,
bedroom
the
or
permit
two
will be, as
bedroom?
soon as you guys get
Right,
approval,
or
they're
they're treated the
permit.
same?
Okay, so we don't need that in the.
I'm just wondering why there isn't some sort of a more standard policy around dorm I&I, other
I
than.
think it's a good question. Those were approved years ago. I don't think we want to, well, we have no ability to go back. Are you suggesting we go?
Well, I mean, I'm not saying we go back and do anything, but I'm saying moving forward, I mean, we're talking,
I think moving forward.
completely unrelated to this
I think,
conversation,
Yeah, we
but
need a
we're-
policy.
I was gonna say, we're
Yeah.
putting together, I mean, we're having the second or third meeting about our I&I rate increases.
Yeah.
And we have nothing on this policy and including, rate increase. I mean, what, has the gallons per day I&I rate for dorms been the same for X number of years? I'm just curious about all of this stuff that
The dorms.
I wasn't even aware of any.
Commercials, everything.
Right, yeah. Anything that's not one bedroom, two bedroom, three bedroom.
No, we have a course of conduct, we have no policy. Why don't we make the motion? and-
Motion to consider an act, in addition of buildings 7 and 8 constituting 480 beds to tie into the Fairfield sewer system. And that is subject to the WPCA review of the flow data provided by Sacred Heart to confirm the gallons per day numbers.
Second.
Comments, discussion, yeah.
I'd like to just put in the amount that we've calculated, $232,320.
320.
So then you would put in subject to the WPCA review of
Okay,
the
so-
flow data provided,
I'm gonna say review and verification, because that's what we're actually doing.
So do you want to put in that number, because it's subject to?
Review and verification.
No, the 232 is, that's today's number, but it, might not be.
Yeah, we're doing this today, so don't we have to use the rates?
No, we've already
They don't,
said
none of
that,
them have to check before we.
at the rate.
Yeah, no, I wanna add some more to this.
I'll have to write this down then. Hang on.
I just wanna add,
Thank you, Sheila.
subject to, pulling the permit. If they're gonna make that payment, subject to pulling the permit, it'll be at the rates in effect when the permit is pulled. And then just the currently, it's $232,320. Give about
What is it? 232,320.
$232,320.
Okay.
320.
Okay, so motion to consider an act in addition of buildings 7 and 8 constituting 480 beds to tie into the Fairfield sewer system, subject to the WPCA review and verification of the flow data provided by Sacred Heart University. They will make the payment for the I&I subject to the rates in effect when permit is pulled, currently at $232,320. $320.
Second. Oh, that's a second, I saw that first. Comments, questions? Ron? All in favor? Aye. Aye, sounds good. Okay, that's unanimous.
I just wanna give a shout out to Dennis Diver, I see he's on the phone, Reef. Or is he not?
He's not.
It was last month.
You can
Okay,
shout out.
well, I'll still,
We'll go in a minute.
Yeah, I'll still let you know that when we did the flow metering, we actually calculated the peaking factor. You know, the
Yeah.
highest flow divided by the average daily flow, and it came out to 2.995, rounded up to 3, right? That's what Wright Pierce used in their flow study to, estimate the peaking factor for the Eastern Turnpike pump station.
All right.
Spot on.
Wow. That's good to know.
There's still naming rights available for that pump station.
Subject to yearly renewal.
We're thinking of Tom Nelson.
Just saying.
Yeah, 4250 a unit, that would have been $1,020,000.
Yeah, that's what I looked at. It's like, that's,
No, that's.
it's like a hard skin.
I don't see anything like that.
Thank you, Tom.
Yeah.
Let's move on
Thank
to
you.
our friends
Thank
from
you.
Fairfield University. 167-bed dorm. All yours? Yeah. Tough to follow.
Yeah, I'm just,
First question, you identify yourself with the tape.
for the record, my name is David Frassinelli, I'm Vice President for Facilities at Fairfield University. And we're desirous of building a new residence hall with 167 beds. We have done the monitoring of the appropriate sections of the town sewer line and have come to the conclusion that there is capacity that was submitted to the town.
Thank you.
Mid-July, July 13th, it appears. We did calculate a sewer fee, a sewer usage fee, based on the 74 GPD, the gallons per day, which comes out to an effective rate of $22. I'm just a little puzzled, given the presentation we just saw, that they're at 480 beds for a $230,000 fee, and I'm coming up with a much higher number, 271. Half the beds,
Yeah,
and I'm wondering if I should,
look at usage.
right,
Fair's fair.
so what would the procedural process be that I, ask that we table this until we can go back and, no? Or do you think it's better to proceed with this and then ask for consideration?
Yeah, so,
Yeah. All right.
yeah, I would encourage you to look at the flow data from the dorms that have, that are comparable.
Yep, and then come back.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, well, then I respectfully request, based on the calculations submitted, that we proceed with approving this. So that would, okay.
The report is in order, I went through it. When they did their flow monitoring, they did meet the rain events needed, so as far as I'm concerned, they met, and they do a nice job with the calculations and the presentation of.
Yeah,
it's a nice report.
Best ones we got.
Yep.
Really are.
Mhm. So I don't see any issue with what they presented in their report.
Plenty of capacity.
Yep. 100%.
Seems like a no-brainer.
The project is pending in zoning, so their decision on the 26th of July, and we would pull the permit.
These are the dorms that are going close to, Round Hill Road.
Yes.
So this is based on the revised, one floor lower?
Yes.
Okay.
That was a consideration for the ZBA height variance, that's the neighbor concern.
Yes.
Is this an extension of Regis? Is it tacked on the current Regis?
We're calling it Regis West because it's west of Regis, but there is no physical connection.
Okay.
It's a freestanding, separate building
On the,
towards Round Hill Road.
okay. There's not much space between the back of Regis and Round Hill Road there. There's a parking lot, as I recall.
Yeah, there's a circular lot that's directly in front of Regis, and
Right.
then there's a large lot. This sits on that circular portion, so
Okay.
the loss of 37 spots in that circle that are being replaced elsewhere on campus.
All right.
And this is also a sophomore dorm, so sophomores don't have cars,
Right.
so the impacted cars are for junior seniors, so we don't want to make it too convenient, for them, so they park elsewhere on campus. Again, no kitchens in their suites. They're sophomores, they're required to have meal plans.
Wants to tackle a motion on this?
Okay, I think what I've heard is, Mr. Chair, a motion to approve Fairfield University's Regis West Hall project consisting of 167 dorm beds to connect to the Fairfield sewer system. This approval will be for 1 year, at which time the applicant will be required to resubmit the application if the permit has not been pulled. A fee of $271,915 has been calculated, but needs to be reviewed by both the applicant and office when the permit is issued.
Okay,
Second.
second from Matt. Comments, questions? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Nice work with that, Joe.
Thank you.
Get it done July 26th. Get your permit pulled.
Yes, we will.
So the is Limerick, Limerick isn't on the campus, is it? It's, we're behind the campus around college?
I'm not exactly sure where it is. But I believe that's the direction.
I'm assuming it'd be kind of out the back gate flowing downhill. That would make the most sense, you know, because,
To Round Hill Road.
yeah, that area, I would think, you know, just flowing downhill there.
It's north of Round Hill. It goes from, I think it must go from Limerick to Mill Plain.
Limerick?
Right.
West,
It must go
west of
through,
the university, north, and it's that northwest corner. It's 3 blocks off the university, on that northwest corner,
It's,
which is Round Hill and.
Right. And then a little coming out the back entrance there, okay, by College Park.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Limerick is a couple of blocks off College Park.
Okay, I was looking for College Park, and I just thinking downhill from where the west would be. And
it must go from Round Hill across
I
Limerick.
just didn't see it on the map, and I just.
Must go in the backyard.
You ready to proceed? Okay. Next item is consider an act on a
Thank you.
proposed 9-unit residential building at 345 Reef Road. Thank you, David. John Bodie, what do we have here?
We approved 325, this spring. This is gonna be an identical mirror image of it right next door. They submitted the same flow monitoring data that they did for the original, and they added in the 10,200 and whatever they calculated for 325, they added that into the calculation.
And the coefficient that we were more comfortable with?
Yes.
Gotcha. And, so that's, the main line is really, the question is tapping into the 10-inch, line at Old Field and Catherine. The 27, James has plenty of capacity.
The only thing I think needs to be brought up, which we missed the first time, was that there was a spike, or there was a spike of 414.8 gallons per minute registered, which was disregarded. The explanation for that was that the lowest reading for the day occurred 45 minutes before the highest reading of the day. And there is an explanation in here from the testing company, and I believe they brought him on board tonight as well.
All right, let's hear from the applicant.
Chair, Commissioners, it's Chris Russo with Russo and Rizzio LLC, offices at 10 Sasco Hill Road in Fairfield. Here on behalf of the applicant, I'm here with Bob Weway, who was our engineer. He was also our engineer on the previous project. And then Matt Kershaw, who's with EST Associates, and they did the monitoring for the site. I'll turn it over to Matt to discuss that one issue, but just to intro it, so we were before you for 321, 325 Reef Road. That was a 9-unit condo building that we received approval from you earlier this year, and then subsequently went to get and obtained zoning approval. If you remember that project, we took the existing medical office building and put 6 units in that, and then added 3 units behind that building. We're doing 9 units now to the property to the south that's vacant. It's a little bit different of a project in that we are now splitting the units up into 3 separate buildings. So there's going to be a building in the front, building in the middle, and building in the back. But still, same number of units, 9 units. And as was just stated, using the same resport as before. So, but to discuss that particular issue, since it was just brought up, we do have Matt Kershaw from EST Associates. And Matt, if you could just come on and explain what happened there.
All right. Hi, good evening, Commission. My name is Matt Kershaw, representing EST Associates out of Needham, Massachusetts. We've done a lot of monitoring in Fairfield. I hope that continues. So we saw like a level drop. It began at 11:45 on 12/24, and the level started decreasing pretty steadily. And I mean, it pretty much made it almost down to zero, reached about 3/4 of an inch compared to the average of, I think it was around 7 inches or so. So that tells us there was some kind of damming happening in the pipe, something, irregular hydraulics. And then at, I want to say, so at 10:45 on 12/25, the velocity increased up to 2 feet per second. So that tells us there was probably a breach in this damming, and then it ended up making its way through. And I believe the computer program actually compensated because it didn't see that artificial 3/4 of an inch, and it probably got down to zero. It probably didn't see that as a, realistic effect. So it actually makes corrections on its own. It uses a Manning equation to calculate it based off the level of velocity, slope, everything else. And then it kind of cleared itself within 45 minutes. So that just seems like a very artificial jump, something that you wouldn't normally see. I mean, the only other thing you could see that would do that is somebody opening up a fire hydrant nearby and dumping it right into the sewer. What I can say, that just, it seemed like a computer correction for an artificial reading.
And Matt, so this was a complete anomaly compared to everything else that all the other readings that you had there?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And it occurred in a very short time frame.
Yeah, that level decreasing, that was a 24-hour period. So that told us, it was happening slowly. And then there was that huge spike of when it let go, and that lasted, 30 to 45 minutes.
Okay, great. Bob, and Bob's also online. Bob, I don't know if there's anything you want to add with regards to this, or just the project as a whole, if you're on there.
Yeah, I think the report, we did all the calculations in the report to show that there's ample capacity at the 2 monitoring sites for our proposed development, and we also factored in the previously approved project over at 321, 325. So at the Oldfield Road, Catherine Terrace, the existing capacity utilization is approximately 73.8%. And under the proposed conditions, which includes 321 plus the 345, brought it up to 76.8. So we're under the 80% threshold for utilization at that location, and that's at the 10-inch line on Oldfield Road. If we move down to the second monitoring site, which was the 27-inch RCP at 102 James Street, the capacity utilization there is substantially lower. For the existing conditions, we're at approximately 65.7%, and adding in the two developments, the 321 and the 345, that brought the capacity utilization to 66.1%. So there's roughly a 14% overage in there, or additional capacity. So I think we utilized the modified Manning's coefficient from the previous application, and I think that's more realistic for what we're encountering out on this area of town for the pipes. So I think, you know, the rest of the calculations, I think, speak for themselves. So I think, you know, the only issue was that one anomaly that was in there. We did have in our report, which was actually part of the EST report, we have the graph that was in there for Catherine Terrace and Oldfield Road. And I think if the commission has access to that, you may want to put a set of eyes on that, because I think that speaks folds to what was just stated with regards to the flow dropping off and then picking way back up again. So the graph makes it pretty clear as far as Chris was saying, with the flows going down to almost zero, both in terms of the GPM and the depth of flow, and then it spikes way back up again, which in terms of the GPM, that got like 418 gallons per minute. And I think if you look at the rest of the graph, it's very clear that that's definitely an anomaly, because if you take a look at the rest of the averages with the daily max and daily min, it definitely overshoots both on the high side and the low side. So we basically made use of that, of the second highest value in there, which was up around the 384 gallons per day. And I think that fits very well with the rest of the graph and the monitoring data that was accumulated. So I think unless the commission has any questions, I think that that basically summarizes the calculations that were done for the project.
Thanks, Bob. And yeah, so we feel very confident in understanding what happened at that specific moment, and then in our calculations. And but we wanted to make sure we had both Bob and Matt here. You know, and Matt in particular, just because they you know, that's the monitoring company. So happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Do you guys have detailed data on it? I mean, I can see the graph, but it's obviously, I mean, it just looks like one spike. It's not that easy to read it. I mean, like, do you happen to have like 1 day's worth of that data, or like every 10, 15 minutes, or something where it's a little bit more transparent?
Yeah, I have more of that data, but I can't, you know, I'm using a phone, so I can't share my screen on that. I believe Chris probably has the report. I'm not sure if you're able to pull that up with some of the raw data. It would have been that file.
I'm looking at the 36-page PDF. It only has, it's got the maximum and the minimum data point for 12/25, and then on the graph, it's showing almost a month's worth of data on one 8.5 by 11. It's just not that easy to see. I could see the spike, and I see everything you guys are talking about, but I mean, obviously a 1 day spike is a lot different than a 5-minute spike. I mean, what you're saying makes sense to me, but I'd want to look at it a little bit more closely.
Yeah. So we have a, an electronic copy we send of the raw data, and it gives a 15-minute, it takes a read in every 15 minutes. So you can look at it incrementally, what happened from that 12:24 at 11:15 a.m. to 12:25 at 11:45 a.m. That'll better demonstrate it. I just don't have the ability to share that on my screen.
I guess the only other question I have is related to, did you guys track precipitation over the almost full month of flow data or no? Or if
Yeah, I
not, do we
checked
have?
it the last
Okay.
time they met.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So was there precipitation on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day?
I
Let's take a look at it.
think I attached it tonight. It was on the last,
Yeah,
the last one.
I have it somewhere. The question is, was there precipitation during that period during that anomaly?
Matt and Bob, do we know the answer to that offhand? Or something that we have?
I don't know offhand, because we didn't have rain gauges installed. I think we were using rain data provided. I think you guys were making the call on the two happened storms or what it was.
Christmas of last year?
Yeah.
What's it up?
Is this a consider and act right now?
Yep.
Joe, I think you had one other question too, right?
Well, there's 3 buildings, but there's only gonna be one hookup.
Right.
For the system. That was my question.
But also about the hypothetical flow from the prior building, is that?
That was included.
That is
I got my
included, okay.
question answered.
Oh, good,
He
okay.
answered it when
Oh,
in his
okay.
presentation.
Okay. I think I was looking at the report.
Yeah.
during
He included it, doubling it up, basically.
that. Okay.
That was my question.
And we could certainly submit that data to you regarding, with the 15-minute timeframes. If you want to make that a condition.
You're pretty comfortable with this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, my 2 cents, it does look like the anomaly has been accounted for here. It makes sense that you've got almost a full month's worth of data. It's showing a certain trend. This is showing, it's the anomaly of going down to nearly 0 right before this is just as big of an anomaly as the spike. So it's a very different circumstance than.
That's what I wanted to hear.
Yeah, exactly. This is not the same as.
That's what I wanted to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see any.
I'm with you 100%. I don't like throwing out anomalies.
Right.
I'm comfortable throwing this anomaly out.
Good.
I would like to see the 15-minute data just to verify that the spike did in fact happen as they've described it, which based on the charts, it does look like that's what happens, but assuming that the 15-minute data pans out and that the rest of the day just shows what everything else has shown over the last month, then yeah, I would be comfortable throwing out that point.
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't get Christmas Day weather.
I
They
have
wouldn't
no,
give it to me.
I have no precipitation just about for the month except
Yeah,
December 22nd.
Yeah, that's an awful lot, too.
yeah. There's only.
Yeah, I think just looking, I just went online real quick and looked up, some of the precipitation data. It looked like on, December 25th of, 2021, there was a total rainfall amount of approximately, 0.15 inches. spread out over a period from, it looks like about 4 o'clock in the morning till about 2:30 in the afternoon.
Okay.
So nothing major in terms of precipitation on that date.
Someone feel in the mood to craft a motion?
Want me to do it?
Yeah, you're good.
I mean, I think my only, well, I guess do it and then I comment. I was gonna say my only comment was verifying that data. I would wanna see it, I would wanna do like an approval based on seeing the 15-minute data.
Yeah, predicated upon.
Right, exactly.
Guys, you don't have that data handy right now, do you?
Said he did, but he can't get it.
Chris, I actually just sent that to you through an email, that last message that you sent me. I'm not sure if you're able to pull it.
I don't see it yet. I'll refresh and see if I get it. Oh, wait, I have it now. Okay. Okay. Bear with me here a second.
Yeah, I mean, it's pulling it up on the screen and then we don't even have to do any kind of caveat.
Yeah, I don't like contingent approval.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Share. Okay, so I'm looking, what date and time am I looking for, Matt?
It was the 25th.
Yeah,
20
the 25th, but you can start to see the level decreasing at about 11:30 a.m. on the 24th. And then, you know, it really peaks out on the 25th, you know, pretty much 24 hours after that. So I think like 10:30 a.m. or so, you see the level pretty much almost hit zero, you know, 3/4 of an inch.
Let me see if I can zoom in here because it's not exactly large.
Motion to approve 3 residential buildings, each with.
Yeah, here we go.
Ah,
Can you see that a little bit better there? I
Yeah.
zoomed
Yeah.
in. All right, so I'm on 1223, 1224. Okay, it looks like here's when it starts dropping, 1224 at 11.
yeah, you can, I forgot to
Yes.
do that.
It's going steadily down, 7, 6, 6.2, 5.8, 5.7. Yeah, still going down. What time does it clear? Well, I guess I'm going to see because it's going to get down to, yeah, all right, it's down to 2, 1225 at 4:45, down to 1, still going down. Okay, yeah, here it is. So at 10:15 or no, 12:25 at 10:30, it gets down to its lowest, which is 0.7, and then at 10:45 it's at 7.103. If I'm reading the right thing.
And then keep scrolling down a little bit further.
Well, yeah,
Yep. And so then it's around in that range, 765. Do you want me to keep going?
Yeah, just go a little bit further.
5. Then it's back up to 7 again at
Is column D the GPM?
Matt.
Column is-
What's
yeah,
column B?
Yeah, that's a flow rate, gallons per minute.
Okay. Yeah, that's
Oh,
what I was.
I'm sorry, B is level, C is velocity, and D is the flow rate.
Right, D is the GPM, correct?
Yes.
Flow rate, yeah. Yeah, so I saw back at 11:15, the spike was the 400
Yeah.
something that we put out.
Yeah, 4 right here. Yep, 414.
And then it very quickly dissipates and seems like, yeah, I'm comfortable. Yeah, that's good enough for me.
That's good enough for Matt, good enough for Mark.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, and I'll email this over right now.
Yeah, the 5 minutes stuff told the story.
Got another tree coming your
I'll
way.
forward it all to you tomorrow.
Send that one to Matt. Okay, so, we have a second? Do we have a second?
We don't have a motion.
Oh,
We need a motion first.
getting tired. Motion,
Mr. Chair,
sir.
a motion to approve 3 residential buildings, each with 3-bedroom units at 345 Reef Road. This approval will be for 1 year, at which time the applicant will be required to resubmit the application. A fee of $57,362.58 will be paid when the permits are issued.
Subject to the current INI rates, right?
You put them right here.
Should they change?
Well, rates in effect at the point of the.
Right, yeah,
Okay.
the point of,
Will be paid when permits are issued, subject to the rates in effect at the time of the permit.
Yes.
Okay. We had a second?
Second.
All in favor?
aye.
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 Aye. Mr. Drew's on board. You even got a vote from John.
No. My hands didn't go up.
All right.
Thanks, everyone.
I-
Appreciate the patience.
I just want to note that we're getting close to 80% capacity at that pipe, so if there's other folks interested in putting condos in that area, they would,
It ain't happening.
yeah.
If we move another property south, we'll keep that in mind.
Okay, want to be clear. Okay, thank you, good night.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Moving on to old business, digester.
I just update, the insurance company accepted the claim. It's taking responsibility for the claim. We don't know exactly how much they're going to cover. The insurance company uses their own adjuster, Hartford Steam Boiler. The town hired their own adjuster, which I'm told is they push harder for more stuff to be covered. We had a walkthrough today for the pre-bid. Actually, the bid went out yesterday. So bids are due on the 4th of August, and hopefully they award it quickly and we move.
How many bidders do you think we'll have?
I'm thinking 3.
You think they have capacity, you know, given the supply chains out there?
Yes, there's a couple of companies that were brought in early on just to see if it was gonna be done emergency-wise, and they have crews, they have the resources to move quickly, which was made abundantly clear today, to move quickly.
Do you have the full issue? Did they lift the top and
Not
go
yet.
in and look at it inside?
No.
So we don't know whether there's any damage
Nope.
that needs to be
The
repaired?
first order of business is gonna clean everything out of there,
Okay.
lift the cover, take it off if they want, lift it, twist it, support it, then go in and see.
Okay.
Sail on sand, see John.
There's a lot of sand in there. And I saw a guy up at the dump today, the sandman. I think I'm calling him to come over.
I've seen him, he's got a truck, and he could probably shovel it right out of
There's 3 guys, a truck and a trailer.
That's all you need.
Call them up.
That's all you need, get his
It's
number.
set right on the side of the truck, the sandman.
Excellent.
So I'm-
He's the man.
High bacteria count sand, very specialty. What else? Let's continue on to the update on the current projects.
East Trunk, there's a meeting tomorrow with, the town engineers and, Cardinal to see where we're going. I'll update you on the next meeting after we have that. The wetlands, nothing, we're waiting on D&B.
Still no additional boring or geotech on, okay.
They're supposed to have something solid by September for that.
Have we approved it, or, I mean, has the city approved any additional work for Cardinal on that, or no?
No.
Okay.
East Trunk, wetlands, hardening is a few things, a few punch list items, very minor, and then they're gonna, well, there is one change order that they're discussing.
You get your transformer yet, or your, switchgear?
Huh?
Your switchgear for the
The
generator?
transformer?
Yeah, the transformer.
Ship date is 12/1.
Nice.
Carriage Drive, I know the big documents were sent by the engineer to Bill Hurley. soon as he approves them, they're gonna get bid. So hopefully that goes out soon.
How long does that have to go out to bid?
Well, usually a bid it days, usually out there for 2 weeks.
Okay, that's not that bad.
And then-
And they're running out of time though to get it
Yeah,
done
they
this
are,
year.
but at least, come on, at least, are you guys seeing, I'm seeing it, that prices are actually, you know,
You could get stuff now, but prices are pretty similar. They've steadied out, so you're not getting huge increases.
Right.
So it's like, at least you put a bid out, you're not too worried about it getting killed.
No sewer overflows.
why were the beaches closed?
Yeah, why were the beaches closed?
Because of the rain. 2.5 inches.
But nothing, but nothing overflowed?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I thought,
2.5 inches, Bridgeport.
I know, I couldn't believe we had, in Monroe, where, by me, it was 3.25.
oh, it was bad.
Crazy.
Let me ask you, as we get into, I read something recently, more and more towns are saying that these extreme weather events, you know, kind of foolish not to predict them. As we think about our I&I measurement, are half-inch rain events even relevant anymore? Should they be 1 inch, 3/4 of an inch?
I would say an inch. Half inch is basically a sprinkle,
Yeah.
shower now. I mean,
Shouldn't, so,
moving forward, saying when people are flow monitoring
yeah,
to get to, you're probably gonna get some pushback and say, well, how long do I have to flow monitor to pick up to 1 inch events?
well, my hope is that we start to, you know, Wright Pierce is keeping this database of
Mhm.
flows, that we just keep populating the database with flows, but I agree, waiting for an inch or 3/4 of an inch is expensive, but I don't think it's prudent to use half an inch.
Right. No, it definitely protects us. I'm just saying you're gonna get pushback from whoever has to do flow monitoring and say, oh, how long do I have to keep these things in there?
Well, that's why I looked at Reef Road, and they would've, they got a 3/4 inch.
I think they got an 1.5 inch one,
Yeah.
so. If you do flow monitoring in the fall, winter, spring, you're gonna catch,
Yes,
You're gonna catch one.
guaranteed.
You're gonna catch one. Can we put in a stipulation to say you can't flow monitor between May and September or something, or just the known low, I mean, it saves them
Right.
money and it saves them from setting all this stuff up and
Yeah.
it doesn't rain
I mean,
for
we're pretty
6 months.
flexible on letting, you know, people use, you know, flow data that we have or, you know, somebody else's use.
I mean, to your point, Mark, I think, especially in the case of anomalies, I think we should be if we're gonna throw out an anomaly, we expect to see at least 3/4 or an inch rainstorm for one, you have to redo flow monitoring if you wanna throw out an anomaly that can't be readily explained.
Okay.
I think having some form, and I don't know how formal of a policy we can really get on it, because every case is gonna be different. Today was a perfect example of something that the data showed that it was an anomaly, whereas the previous one, there was no rationale for throwing it out. They were just like, oh, it's the highest point, we're just tossing it. But they didn't say, well, there was an obvious 5 minutes before, it was the low point. Like, that, their data showed that there was something in the line that caused a flow backup, and then it just kind of deluged through, and then immediately normalized within 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah. What do you two think of, what's the minimum rainfall amount?
It's tough to say. I mean, especially like we're doing all the I&I rehab stuff. I mean, ideally, that program eliminates a lot of I&I from the system, so rainstorms shouldn't matter. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, in
I
theory, I
I
mean,
agree with that.
in practicality,
Sometimes
that's,
it's,
you're never gonna eliminate all of it, but.
what, do you have a half an inch now, and sometimes it takes a month. You know, it depends. If the people wanna pay for it, you know, if they wanna do it in the summer, they pay for it. But I don't know if increasing what it is, if that's gonna slow things down a lot. I don't know if it's really gonna help
I'm
you.
looking to slow it down, I'm just looking to avoid surcharges and pipes.
Right.
Yeah, but usually, like you're saying, if it's a lot more times you get more of a 3/4 inch than a half an inch, so technically, if we're getting more rain, we should pick it up anyways when they do their flow monitoring. Anyways, because they usually do it for a couple weeks here and there until they get a 2 two data points, and by then, we usually have a higher rate.
Yeah, I would be less concerned with putting any kind of stipulation on the flow monitoring, and just understanding what happens during the flow monitoring. And obviously, that would impact, I mean, if somebody had no rainstorms in their data, and they're coming in with a proposed flow of 78%, I'm taking that and saying, that's over 80, even though it's only 78, but you had you're at a 78 with no rain, you're probably over 80 with a bad storm, and kind of just mentally factoring, like, there is no thou shalt make sure that we're over or under 80, but there's also no rule that says we can't be on, like, we can reject something that's 78 or 75, and so, like, as storm intensity increases, we would need to be more prudent with the max capacity that we're going to allow in the system.
It's helpful, thank you.
So what's going on with Fairfield Beach pump?
We have the money, that you guys approved, it's all been, so it's to Wright Pierce, and they're gonna work on it. Or no, actually, it's not going to Wright Pierce, it's probably gonna have to go out for NRFQP, whatever.
And I happened to be driving by one day, and I introduced myself to the guys. I don't know if you heard about this.
No.
We were on vacation. I got a little tour of the pump station.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Oh, good. It's in remarkably good shape.
Yeah, for the amount of time it's been there?
Yeah, those pumps humming along.
We put our guys put those in. They cut the old ones out, put the new pumps in, made the stands, piping, everything.
Yeah, well, we do that.
That's a little bit beyond.
Well, to me, it's just somehow elevating the fortress of it. We're not elevating the machinery inside.
Well, we're gonna replace the machinery inside, we're gonna replace the controls, the generator, ventilation.
Yeah.
The force main, which is the key.
Yeah.
Do we have to get P&Z approval for, replacing them? If we're increasing the height? And we're building?
It's a great question. I had an idea to put an apartment in it.
Actually, can it be an Airbnb? An Airbnb, and it can help pay for I&I. Rent it out, this is perfect.
You know why I thought that? Because I was inside it, and the inside of it did not smell at all. You get over to the well, that's
Well, yeah,
the smell there, yeah.
But there's plenty of room to park the Sandman truck right in there, it's got a gate.
Yeah,
You're on the
all
beach.
set. You're on the beach.
Yeah, perfect.
Water view.
I don't know.
I've been in worse.
You've got two pieces of equipment on order, replacement for the plant.
We have the compost machine and the dolly, yeah.
Right. How's that coming? You're still December, we think?
Yeah, spring.
Spring now?
Yeah.
Okay, because you said it was about
48 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back.
But it took
Okay, it didn't start when I asked you the question. Okay, got
so
it.
long to get the purchase order.
Got it.
Which is a whole nother issue.
You hear anything from, Wright Pierce on the I&I study, which we need by November?
I handed them the PO this morning,
Okay,
and they've got 3 interns in now, and they're gonna jump on it. Sweet. So, with that chunk of money,
What's going on with wetlands crossing? I know we got something back from them saying that they looked into directional
yeah, and
drilling.
they're probably
and that
saying no.
wasn't- Right, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
so, like I said, that's D&B,
Right,
and that's, their deadline is September sometime, to come back with a 80% or so plan of attack.
okay.
And then I think they're gonna say, yeah, let's just do it because there's that $750,000 grant that's hanging, we'll lose in somewhere around there.
Okay.
Remember?
December.
Yeah, maybe that's
And
it.
so they're proceeding with the detailed design for the,
Yeah.
like, insanely expensive shoring and
Yeah.
dewatering option? Okay, perfect.
That's not a prejudicial statement. The other question I have,
90% of the cost is
so what
shoring.
usage survey that tells, I've been using, for when we set our rates, I've been using the estimate.
Yep, the
And
QDS is what you're looking for.
QDS, had they,
They haven't gotten it, both of those guys are on vacation.
so probably won't have it for August too.
They're back on Monday,
Okay, we might have it
so
for
we
August
might,
too.
I'm going to.
I don't know how long it takes for them
I
to
don't
run
know,
it, okay.
but I'm going to talk to Chris Rogers on Monday the
I'm gonna
25th.
redo the rates again for the third time. I might as well, instead of using an estimate, get the
Get the
real
rates.
numbers.
Yeah.
If we can get it by the time.
If we could get it by the
That was,
time.
when was that, for the August 2nd meeting? that we
Yes,
had?
August, well, I want it, I'd like it before August 2nd, August 1st, so I can put it in some kind of presentation form.
Do we have four? I'm on vacation that week. I definitely can't be here.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll find it.
Good.
No, we have a quorum. I've already
Okay.
verified that, otherwise we wouldn't have put it on
And
the second.
are we planning on just
Chris is
going
gonna
with
be
the
away.
same numbers
No,
that
I'm
we've
here,
already
but not-
discussed and approved?
Tom's here, Chris is gonna be here, but not on the day before, the day
Yeah.
after. I got it all.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Our new employee came online as well. She's an
Good.
engineer.
Oh, good.
Uh,
How come she's not here?
I asked her to come, and she was at a meeting before I left, so I didn't get a chance to remind her, so maybe next time. But
Look forward to meeting her.
I told her where it was, right where she was interviewed.
Any, sewer bypasses?
No, sir.
Okay. Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Ron Drew, God bless you for